What does it mean to have an identity as a writer? When I think of my identity, I think of who I am and what I like to do. I'm Kate Hooper from Tennessee, and I'm a Christian. I have 4 younger siblings, ages 17, 11, 5, and 10 months, and 2 dogs, who I love more than anything. I like to hang out with my friends and do girly things, like lay out and go shopping, and I was a cheerleader in high school. But because of my 17-year-old brother, Jack, I also have an outdoorsy side. I like hunting and fishing and going to my farm. But when I think of my identity, nothing about writing comes to mind. Writing has always been a burden for me as it brings up images of procrastination, extensive thinking, and hours at a desk. After giving it some thought, though, I began to realize that the reason I do not enjoy writing is because I have always been told what to write about and how to write about it, leaving me with no room to discover my personal writing style. I slowly began to realize that having an identity as a writer does not necessarily mean that you write well when given a topic and a time limit. Having an identity as a writer means that you have a voice that is unique to you. Everyone has their own writing identity because no 2 people have the same voice. Growing up, I was always taught that the 5-paragraph essay was the correct way to write a paper. I thought about writing like it was a formalized method. I came up with a thesis and then wrote my introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. While this style of essay isn't bad, it doesn't leave much room for creativity. Thus, when this teacher instructed us to steer clear of the familiar 5-paragraph essay and take the paper in whatever direction we want to describe ourselves as writers, I was lost. I needed to be creative, but I had never thought that my writing stood out as being anything different from the rest of my classmates, and I certainly didn't think of myself as having an identity as a writer. I tried to think of all the different types of writing I've done in the past and what I was especially good at writing. Then I had a thought. What about thank you notes? Ever since I remember, my mom has always made me write thank you notes to people who give me gifts. As a young girl, I would sit barefoot at the kitchen table with my pink monogram stationery and write my thank you notes. They were basic, to say the least. Dear Grandma, thank you for my gift. I play with it all the time. It is my new favorite toy. Love, Kate. Now, over a decade later, I still write thank you notes on my pink monogram stationery, but my notes are much more personal because I let myself get off on tangents and write about whatever I want to say, even if it is irrelevant to the gift I have received. I don't associate procrastination, extensive thinking, and hours at a desk with writing thank you notes. But nevertheless, my grandparents always call my mom or me to compliment the note they received from me and say how much they enjoyed reading it. Thinking about my experience with thank you notes led me to realize that good writing can be about anything and does not have to fall under one genre or writing style, because the quality of the writing matters much more than the genre, and the most important thing is that my thank you notes are written in my voice. My mom could easily give my grandparents more or less the same update on my life, but I know they like to hear it from me because I told them things from my perspective. Although I do not consider writing to be a favorite hobby of mine, and I would not describe myself as a writer to someone who didn't know me, I have found that writing can still exhibit my personal identity because I write from my own perspective, a unique perspective that no one else can have.